Okay, hello and welcome to another episode of Timesport on the Beat with me, Fadhli from the New Straits Timesports desk. Today we have another very special guest with us, Mr. Danny Feng. If you're a follower of Malaysian cycling, you'll know who he is. But in case you're not a cycling fan, Danny is one of the key figures behind Terengganu Cycling Team. He helped set up the team back in the early 2010s, 2011, not mistaken.
2011, yep.
So, Danny, how are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me here.
So we'll open up with some LTDL questions for Tour de Langkawi questions since it's just been 2 days since the 8th stage ended in Bintulu. And I was there following the tour. Danny was here in KL commentating for the first time. How was that, Danny?
Yeah, it was good. Really good experience. You know, I wasn't prepared for that. But when the organizer, Emir, contacted me and to tell me about this opportunity, and I had a discussion with the team management. So I thought it's a good opportunity because I can share more about Terengganu TSG cycling story, but also talk about more about Asia cycling in general. Because I have watched the other commentator. I mean, of course, you know, you talk about Eurosport's well-known. They're a very good commentator, but they have very little knowledge about Asia cycling. And so they can talk about World Tour riders and Pro Tour rider all day long, but they don't even know the names of most of the Asian cyclists. So I thought this is a better opportunity for me to bring the Asia cycling more into the spotlight, and then opportunity to also talk a bit about TSG, but also not only just TSG, I also talk about MPC team as well, and also Malaysian development team, Malaysian national team as well. So I thought that was a better opportunity to showcase Malaysia. That's why I decided to. And also I talked to Chedin. I said because we didn't have clashing races, so Chedin said they had enough staff on the race. So I thought, okay, then I got his green light to do the commentating. Yeah,
because you're normally in the team car with TSG, right?
Yes, normally I'm in a team car. I don't normally go to every most of the races, but obviously Langkawi is the home race and it's the most important race for TSG in the year. So normally for the Langkawi I will be in the team car normally. Yeah.
All right. Just for the benefit of the listeners and viewers, Cik Den is the Chief Operating Officer.
Yes, yeah, he's the
TSG.
So
Mr.
Nasruddin.
In some ways has to answer to him sometimes.
Yes,
but not all the time.
I call him my boss. No, I call him my boss. But Chedin, Mr. Nasruddin, he is a really good partner. I was really fortunate. I always keep saying I have to give credit to him. Because he is instrumental in managing the operation in Terengganu. Because I always tell people, like, I am sitting in KL. People ask me, you're in KL and the team is in Terengganu. Because Chedin is so good. He managed all the staff, all the riders, equipment, and also he played a major role of getting sponsors and talking to sponsors and meeting with sponsors. So yeah, I'm really fortunate that he is involved with the team, because I actually we'll talk a little bit more, but I actually left the team briefly after we set up for the first 2 years, and because of I would say a bit of a mismanagement on their part, and not to blame them because they really didn't understand cycling. And fortunately, Chedin have a very deep knowledge. He's himself working in the bike industry. Himself was a cyclist, so his son was also in a development program. So he understood cycling, and that made everything easy. And also, he's great in managing the people.
All right. So Danny, currently, what is your title with TSG?
My official title is just an advisor.
Okay. Right.
Because I'm not involved in the day-to-day operation. Because again, Chedin is so good in managing the guys there, and I felt, and because I also have my own business, so I have to step back. And I said, I am better staying here, but working more strategic planning. So I do almost all the foreign rider, international riders selections. Okay. And we also have monthly meetings, or sometimes even every few weeks we have meetings, talk about the races coming up. So we have a conference call with Saifu, which is the DS, the head DS, sitting in Terengganu. So we talk about, and Nai as well. We talk about what are the races coming up, who are the riders that should go to those races in order to get the best possible result. So I'm very much involved in the rider selection and the international rider negotiation, and also even like planning the races ahead. But except that I just don't go to the team car so much, because traveling to the team car does really travel to the race. It takes a lot of time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, Danny, we'll talk about TSG's foreign riders in a minute. Some interesting signings this season.
Yes.
So,
yes.
but
yes.
just going back to LTDL this
Yep.
year. So, Max Poole won the GC.
Yes.
And
yes.
Malucelli won the sprint
won the
jersey.
sprint
So did that
jersey.
surprise you in any way?
Of course, the performance of Ukio was fantastic. They had a second in the GC. They also won the best Asian rider classification. They won the sprints classification. On the paper, it was definitely a surprise. And this is one of the best performances by an Asian team. But if you look at their background, what they did this year, it wasn't a surprise at all. So during my broadcast, and I look it up, their history, they actually been racing extensively in Italy this whole season.
I see.
And that's why, and this is something that we've been, if we I've viewers always ask me, like, cycling fan in Malaysia general always ask me how to improve the local rider, how to improve the local rider. And you see, the only way to improve it is by pushing them to go to Europe and racing at a higher level, because the Ichibashi, the Asian jersey classification winner, if you look at his result, he himself was surprised. He get the white jersey, because you look at his result, it's actually pretty average.
Right.
He went to Italy. He did probably about a handful of races, 5-6 races, and I think he only finished one. He didn't even finish other races, but by exposing to the higher level, because he's relatively younger rider, by exposing to the higher level, he came here and he was able to follow some of the best climbers in the race. And that's why he get the good result. And same thing for his teammate, Italian teammate. They have been racing at a higher level. And I think Pensanti, the guy who finished second, he finished number 12 in the Memorial Bentani, which is a very hard Italian race, classic race, 1-day race. So he came up to the good form, and that's why he's able to perform and surprise everybody. Yeah.
I think Manabu Ishibashi was about 2 minutes off the GC, which is not bad.
Not bad at all. Consider the level. I mean, I know some years, cycling fans, will see some years our guys do better, and some, because you have to look at the field, the depth of the field. This year, you had guys, especially in the last few years, by moving the date to October, you are attracting much stronger teams. And also the riders are in much better condition, because when you have a race in February, they are still in holiday mood, because it's 0 degrees weather in pretty much in Europe, in Northern Europe. So they're not coming here, they're not here with a good form. But now having the race in October, rider just finished the Valda, they just finished they're still racing in Europe. So, and a lot of them haven't come out with a win, with a victory. So they come here hungry. And the Max Poole is the best example. He finished four podium at the Valda. So he came here with an intention to win. He was talking in an interview. He was practicing his sprint. He knew it was going to be a bunch. It was going to be a small group sprint in the Cameron Highlands. So he was practicing it, because he was targeting it to win the GC. That's how focused they are compared to a couple years ago. When you have the race in February, guys come here for pretty much a summer holiday in the middle of winter.
Training.
Exactly. It's a preseason training. Exactly. Yeah. So
like for Max Poole's case, you think that he might have some tired legs after Volta, and going very hard, 4 podiums there. But he didn't look that way.
He there was a little bit of resting, and he didn't do that much early of the year. So because he was only 21 years old, he didn't have too much racing early the year. So he was sort of peaked for Valda for sure, and then he had a few weeks off, and then he's able. He's for a professional rider like that level, and he's super talented.
And possibly his age factor is a bit
exactly
younger,
21 years old. And just like Pogacar finished the tour, and then he rested for a few weeks and a month, less than a month, and he doing the world championship. So it's doable for young men.
So for defending champion Stephen Carr, it didn't go to plan, unfortunately.
It didn't go to plan, and he suffered a heat stroke during the stage 4, if I'm not mistaken. So, but also he's probably better at the steep climbs. He knew.
Okay.
So along the climb on Cameron Highland, he was already working for Sean Quinn, which is
Okay.
the American rider. So he must wasn't feeling confident, feeling great. So yeah, it was a shame. So because they also did intend to defend. I thought they should have put Hugh Carthy as a backup potential winner, but yeah, they end up Hugh Carthy did all the work for Jay. Yeah, so this is bike racing. You can never know exactly how it work out. Yeah,
Harold Lopez. What about him?
Yeah, Lopez. He got a little bit unlucky.
Yeah.
He got a penalty. He was very good. Martin Harold Lopez. He was a very good. Young rider. I remember I rode with him. 22 years ago. And he was just a stagiaire, like a trainee rider for the Astana team. He wasn't that good back then, but again, when you expose young rider to high level racing, they improve. And this is something we can get into, like question about how to improve Malaysian rider. They need to expose to high level racing in order for them to improve their level. So yeah, Martin Harold Lopez, he got some very bad judgment from the UCI commission, unfair, so-called.
You think it was unfair?
Well,
was there a video?
I didn't see
footage?
it personally, but then I was talking to the team staffs, other team staff. So other people also felt it was a bit of harsh. Not unfair, but a bit of harsh on the harsh side. So yeah, Mark Rishaw was having a bit of a bad day there.
Right. I didn't see the actual incident.
I also didn't see it.
But in the results, it says he was drafting behind Tinka, something like that, right?
Yes, correct. So it wasn't. Yeah, so it was a bit of harsh. That's what everybody else sort of, even other competitors saying that was a bit harsh. So, but that's bike racing again.
All right, we move on to local angle a bit. So
Yes.
NPC, Shawal Mazlin, Cameron Highlands native, was first Malaysian to crest in Cameron Highlands. What do you think of his performance?
That was good. It was good. The NPC overall was they have been always a very aggressive team. I was hoping to see them more in the breakaway.
All right.
And I didn't mention that in my in the YouTube broadcasting. I was hoping to see more in action because you saw like TSG and the Malaysian national team was very active in trying to at least the selected stages. But however, it was nice they have a Cameron Highland native, so I'm sure he was super motivated. He was targeting that. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to see that, and I was hoping that obviously he would contest. Again, even though I'm with TSG, I'm always happy to see a Malaysian rider can contest for this year's white jersey, because this year technically the white jersey didn't have the strongest lineup, because normally you would have Kazakhstan bringing Kazakh rider like Pransky. Like
I think he was named in the initial.
Exactly, his name was in there. He was taken out and sent to Italy. But then also you would BH had Sain Baya, the ex TSG rider, the Mongolian rider. He was supposed to be here representing BH and targeting the white jersey, and because there's a world championship, so they asked him to do the world championship instead of Malaysia. So instead of coming to Malaysia, so that's what I thought. I was really hoping to see a Malaysian rider in the top 3. It doesn't matter who. I was hoping to see them in the final podium, but yeah, it was a clean sweep by the Japanese rider.
Two from Yukio, one from Iceland.
Exactly. So it was a little disappointing there. So, but yeah, it was close, but. But it was good. At least the TSG sort of got the first 2 days on the white jersey, so that was good. But we knew we couldn't hold on to it.
It would be tough,
to the Cameron Highland. Iman Rosalie is a fantastic rider, but he's no climber by any means.
So for Shawal, I think he has the physique of a climber, and he's being from Cameron Highlands. I'm hoping that he has some of that Colombian high altitude genetics kind of thing.
You would.
He's only 19 as well.
So, he interview with him that he was really targeting the stage, and he is a climber. Because of Malaysians, most of Malaysian riders are sprinters. It's very difficult to produce climber. But if you want to do the altitude camp training, unfortunately, he really have to go above 2,000 meters into like. I think NPC have done it in Kunming or something. They have to do that because Cameron Highland is still considered too low, and it's not ideal for altitude training. But he still did the best among the Malaysians. But my opinion is always, and this is the goal I set up for even our TSG rider is the goal should never be the best Malaysian.
Yeah, of course.
Because I want the Malaysian boys, the riders, to set the target at least be the best Asian. And then if you have the talent, then even be the best among the world, because that's what the target should set. Yeah. So, but nevertheless, he did try his best, and I hope he's still very young. I think I hope he can do better in some even in the outside home outside the races outside Malaysia.
I think I have a theory, Danny. You know, climbing and all that, it all boils down to VO2 max as well, right? Genetics does play a role in that. I think compared to Indonesia, Thailand, we lack the mountainous regions.
Yes.
Where the genetics are more, a red blood cell friendly.
Yeah. So genetic does play a major role, because I know I talked to John Beasley before.
Yeah.
And he focused very much on track.
Okay.
He knew many Malaysian cyclists are gifted with fast twitching muscle.
Oh, yeah.
They are. I mean, I have never met so many sprinters, because you can look at normally you look at a 55 kg rider, and you say, okay, that's a physique of a climber. But no, the rider will tell you, no, I'm a sprinter.
Okay.
So, and of course Azizul Awang is the best example of a small size but super powerful, right? So even John Beasley said, if you look at the average VO2 max of a Malaysian cyclist, they are comparatively they're on the lower side, and also the surrounding, like you said, exactly, has to do with it. Because let's say if you grew up in Indonesia, you grew up in Thailand, not only the genetic selection, but also the race selection. Because the races you have in Thailand or Indonesia are, the surrounding is always hilly, so you have to. You're not gonna find a flat road to do the race. So you have to do it in the hilly, and then you obviously slowly you can see if the rider, even though they are very good in the flat, but they cannot perform in the hill, so they can never be good. That's why Colombian rider, even their sprinter, can climb. Yes.
That's true. Okay, moving on to the sprinters now. TSG obviously have some legendary sprinters like Harif Saleh, Anwar Manan, and I think the younger ones like Irwandi and Wan Hamdan
Aceh,
and all that.
Aceh, we call him
coming
Aceh.
up now, right?
Yes,
so,
yes.
What do you think about the next generation? Who are the next hopes for Malaysia in sprinting, road sprinting?
Unfortunately, I wish I can say there is somebody lined up to take over after Anwar and Harif Saleh, right? So Anwar has won 1 stages in Langkawi. Harif have won 3 stages.
Yes.
We were really hoping to see the next superstar coming out very soon. Even from the Malaysian national team, the NPC, but unfortunately, nobody so far has stepped up to win, at least at the UCI level.
Okay.
Aceh is very good. Aceh has the mindset, the determination, maybe a little bit lack of experience. So we're still hoping he develop. Iwandi probably have the best physique of a world-class sprinter. I mean, you can line him up next to a European rider, and he will have a physique that's compatible to them. But I think his mindset is maybe, as a sprinter, you need to have the super aggressive, super risk-taking in the high level.
Okay.
So maybe his mindset is not as hungry, as determined to win.
Because there are a lot of elbows in the bunch sprint.
There's a lot of elbows. Harif Saleh loves it, and Anwar Manan's he's so good at navigating and finding the right way to run. So you need. Everybody think it's all physical, but it's actually mental. You need to be smart. Anwar Manan was one of the smartest rider I ever worked with. He knew how to place himself. He knew how to win the races. Harif Saleh lacked a little bit of that natural ability to read the race, and that's why we end up. We had to employ Yusuf Garini from Algeria, because as a lead out, Harif really need a strong lead out to place him. Just different kind of sprinter. Cavendish doesn't need a lead out. He can win pretty much any sprint, and and then you have like Andre Greipel. Without a lead out, his chances of surviving isn't not very good. Different type of rider, different type of sprinter. Yeah, but so far we're hoping, and that's why I really trying to. Which we have the academy program. We're trying to develop the next superstar, but not easy. Not easy.
Going back to Harif. Harif is 36, which is a little bit old, but not really the end yet. I think he's still got a few more years in him. What do you think?
That's a really hard question to answer.
But Cavendish is still,
Well, he's retired. Cavendish is retired.
Last few years.
Yeah, last few years. He did
30s,
try, and he's 35. But he retired 35, 36, right? And then this was his last year. I think he's 36. So, so Harif. How do I say this? In my heart, of course, I want to see Harif continue, right? And every year when we come to the rider selection for Langkawi, what happened? I want to see Harif succeed. At least goes out with a bang. If he won a stage, then he announced his retirement. Where he get on the podium, it's such a nice way to close out his career. What happened is, what's difficult with Harif is that because he's getting older, his peak power is still there. If you ask him to do a 10-second sprint, he still can do, I don't know the exact number, but somewhere close to that. Very competitive. Not much off from when he was younger. But what happened is, as you get older, your ability to go through the early part of the stage, because to do the last 200-meter sprint, you still have to get over the stage, get over the climb. And as he get older, I feel like it is getting harder for him to complete hard race. So that because for a rider, they need other smaller races to lead up to the big race. So we find it harder and harder to find a race for him as a preparation race. And that's what happened when before when he did it very well. There was a preparation race, and he did even when we went to Turkey, he even got on the podium of the Turkey. He actually won. He was the only first Malaysian rider to win a race in Europe. So those races was good for him. And so this year we didn't do the Turkey, so much of Turkey. So it was all in Asia, and it was all hillies and hard, and everybody in the peloton knows he's the fastest sprinter. So what happened is they do everything they can to make sure the race doesn't finish in a sprint. So that becomes so hard for him to practice that. And that's why his lack of that race preparation. And unfortunately, and that's why I haven't sat down with him. Our management is going to have a meeting to decide what would be the best. Because, Harif, you can see, like, he didn't do so well. He had a Poyang Lake as a lead-out race, and he was really struggling.
Poyang was 2.1,
2.1 race, but the riders, there was no big rider. And he had a crash, and then he finished 10th, but he finally getting better, finishing, like, I think 5th or something. But the first sprint didn't work out so well for Harif, but you see the second stage, Harif was just behind the winner, Malucelli. So he was just behind the winner, and Peneve, who thought he won, but he was just behind the wheel. If he had the opening space, he probably would have been on the podium, but he had nowhere to go. So it always, if he finished 10th, the decision would be easy. Okay, Harif, he doesn't have the speed, but you knew that he still had the speed. So it's going to be a really hard question. A hard decision to make. We haven't made that decision yet, so I don't want to. I cannot release. I also don't know what he would really want to do. Yeah.
So is Achi second in line after him, or is it?
Actually, supposed to be Iwandi. Iwandi. But you can see Aceh. We see Aceh has more the killer instinct. Because he didn't do Langkawi, but he went to Batam, and he finished third in Batam in the UCI race. I think that's probably And he finished a couple years ago. He finished second. Pretty high in not second. That's Iwandi finished second in Thailand, but he did a lot of work for the team. So I hope Aceh will be the next one. But to be honest, he needs to work really hard in order to win the stage in Langkawi, right? To be good and to win a stage at that level.
How far off is he in terms of max power compared to Harif and maybe?
That's a good question. You need to ask Saiful for that. Because I don't have the exact number. I don't see them in the actual trainings. I don't train with them. But Yeah, he still has a little bit of gap.
Okay.
To win at that level, but it's not all about power.
Yeah.
It's not about pure power. So mentally, I think he can be good. We need to give him some more
Exposure,
races
yeah.
to build up the confident level. So I hope so. I certainly hope so. We have a big hope for him.
One thing I wanted to ask you, Danny, is Harif's done a lot of track endurance races over the past few seasons, I think.
Yeah.
Scratch race, point race kind of thing. So do you think that that's benefiting him, or maybe?
Yes, it certainly does, because like I said, it's difficult for us to find road race that can use as a preparation,
Okay.
because a lot of them got too much hills and all this.
Okay.
And so Harif really need to do the track endurance. Is the only way for him to help to keep that competitive edge without going through massive hills and suffering through there. But that in the vice versa, he really suffered on the climb. That's why he finished outside time limit, because he was dropped too early. Yeah.
So I just want, out of curiosity, just want to ask you, how do they get these sprinters like train in the gym? Do they squat like really heavy weights or kind of thing?
Yes, they have to do strength training.
Okay.
Strength training is very important for sprinters. And so they do. They go to the gyms in order to build up their overall, because you're not going to produce that kind of heavy load. In order for athlete to get stronger, they need to induce heavier load onto the body in order for the body to adapt to that load. So yes, they do quite a bit of gym work.
Do you know how much do they lift roughly? Is it like a 2 times body weight squat or something like that?
I really don't know.
Oh, right.
I have never gone with a gym session with Harif.
Okay.
But all the top sprinter, they do train in the gym. Yeah. But believe it or not, they don't. It's not It's only a small part of their training, probably once a week kind of thing. Nothing major. It's
Or maybe
not
they do it in the off season more.
More in the off season. But I think track sprinter. I think Azizu does much more in the gym. I think Zosaya also can tell us that exactly how much they do. But the focus is still more on the endurance, because like Mark Cavendish, he doesn't train the sprint because it's instinctive.
Okay.
It's instinct to them. They train the mountain.
Okay.
Cavendish only trained the climb in the mountains, because he said if you get over the climb, it's very different from track racing, which is purely power, almost purely power. But for road racing, you have to get over the mountain, and whoever have the freshest leg, have the best tactic, say the sprinting position, will have the better chance of winning. Yeah, it's not not a pure number game. Yeah.
All right. Danny, I just want to go back to LTDL for a while. A question I forgot to ask earlier. So this year there were 2 climbing stages basically. One at Cameron Highlands and one at Fraser's Hill.
Yes.
Not as steep as Genting, but being back to back, it was challenging. We saw 19 riders miss the time limit in the 4th stage after the gap climb there.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about that? LTDL having these kind of 2 stages?
No, it was very good. Initially when they say there's no Genting this year, everybody said that's going to be a boring stage. But actually, I said but without Genting, that means like potentially 10 guys could be very close in the GC within a few seconds of each other, and that actually could make the racing interesting. And that's what exactly happened. You have basically 10 guys separated by 20 seconds. So and that actually made the racing more exciting, because I remember even when Artem Ovinsky won the TSG, then he won that was also the year only have Cameron Highland.
Okay.
He won. And even though that year the competitor wasn't that strong, but it wasn't easy at all trying to keep the jersey, because it happened so early, similar to this year.
Okay,
it happened in stage 3. Then that means that the rest, there was a lot of battle within the next few stages, as you saw in the stage 4 after the Cameron Highland, the EF for missing out the win, so they went on an all-out attack. And that's why so many riders got dropped finish outside time limit.
Yeah, okay, because they're really pushing the pace.
Exactly, try to win the stage. So it actually makes it's arguable. However, I would like to see the best case where you have a Cameron Highland and the Genting stage.
Okay.
Then you really like
back to back or separated?
It can be separated by one stage.
Okay,
you can separate by one stage, so you have a transition stage. But it would be nice to see if both. It happened before. They were organized, because that way it gives away, like that's when Wang Mei Ying won the yellow jersey by breaking away. on the Cameron Highland,
Uh-huh.
but then make the Genting even more exciting. Like
Yeah.
you have 2 stages, but yeah, so that would be nice. It would be nice.
I agree. I think 2 climbs is better because with one Genting climb only,
Yeah.
it does become a sprinter's tour or something
Exactly,
like that.
exactly, and then you can sort of like mark down who is gonna win the
Yeah.
Genting stage because there's only a few rider have that kind of climbing ability. Yeah.
Okay, Danny, I want to move on to we've done the sprinters, we've done the climbing part.
Yep.
So now the other guys, Ayman Rosli and Ayman Zarif, are they pretty similar riders? In type of
No,
riders?
they're actually quite different.
Yeah.
They're actually quite different. So you have Ayman Rosli is a fantastic time trialist.
Okay.
He is a national champion, the current national
Yeah.
champion. I think he'd done that. He'd been capping that for 2 years in a row. So Ayman Rosli is a time trialist, and he likes going on the breakaway because obviously he go on a breakaway. He's very strong in riding on the rolling terrain.
Yeah.
Ayman Zarif is more of actually he's I would say he was more. I was hoping to be more of a climber.
Okay.
And Ayman Zarif does like climbing. Maybe not compared to the Europe. What did you say? The super strong guys from Europe, the pure climbers. But he can get over the climbs better. And that's why he's a 2-time KOM winner,
Yeah.
right? So he's a more of a climbing. They all like to race aggressively. So different kind of rider. Ayman Rosli is a TT rider, time trialist, and Ayman Zarif is more of a, I say, hill climber. So not a big mountain,
Okay,
but a
alright.
hilly terrain. Yeah.
So breakaways, I think both riders can do well.
They
in
both,
breakaways,
both like rider do both breakaway because again, you do breakaway, you need a good short-term power.
Yeah.
So as a Malaysian riders, they all have a good fast twitching muscle, so they all like to break away, so make the racing exciting. Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
So moving on to the foreign guys. I think during 2019 and 2020, Youssef was the lead-up man for Harif, right?
Yes,
Is that-
yes.
But Youssef is winding down his career, is that
Yes,
right?
so he is retiring. That's why, in fact, he couldn't be here.
Okay.
He has some classes to attend at UCI.
Okay.
So this is his last year with TSG. Yeah.
So last year in cycling as well. Yeah.
Last year cycling, he is retiring, permanently
Alright,
from
okay.
cycling. I think he's going to take up a coaching role.
So that's a big loss, I think. I mean, especially for Harif. Right?
Yes,
So
yes,
who do you
absolutely.
think can fill that kind of role, the main lead-up man? Or maybe
right now-
Irwandi can do that.
Right now, Iwandi, so technically Iwandi could, but right now we don't know whether or not Harif is going to continue.
Okay, alright.
So that's a good question.
Okay.
So we so there's a still question mark on the answer right now. So what's Harif gonna do and what with the team and so forth. So typically we don't go trying to hire a lead out man just for smaller races. Obviously for Langkawi, we
It's a
brought
big race,
Youssef in mainly for Langkawi because we knew Harif was ready to win Langkawi. His age
And
was
Youssef
perfect.
actually won the yellow before. if I'm not
Yeah, he
mistaken,
won the
right?
yellow
Which-
because of that. Also the years they only had a Cameron Highland,
Okay,
and
yeah.
he was good enough to win the yellow. So he's someone who can climb, get
Yeah.
over the small hills, and he's a yellow jersey winner of. So it was a fantastic. Yeah, that's yeah.
So Danny, this year you managed to sign Morhawi Kudus, big name
Yes.
for Conti side.
Yes.
Unfortunately, got injured last August.
Yeah, he injured in Hainan.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So, but we also have Andres Miltiadis.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I
Andreas,
spoke to him
Yeah.
a few days ago. I think he said that he had some issues with his teeth. This
Yeah,
year.
early in the season, he had some tooth problem. He's a good rider. He had some mishap, and also in the Tour of Greece, he had a problem with the tire punctures,
Okay.
and certainly cost him a good position. And unfortunately, we are not re-signing Andreas for next year.
Okay.
Not because of not because he's not a good rider. By you can see his power. He's a very powerful
Okay,
rider.
yeah.
He's
He's
a
a
very good
big
time
engine
trial.
there.
He has a good engine.
Yeah.
He won both the road race, the time trial, and the mountain bike cross country in
Alright.
Cyprus national championship. But he lacked a little bit of experience, so he hasn't been with the continental team before.
Okay.
He lack of the race tactic experience with the team. So
Okay.
and that's why we are it's good that he exposed to TSG. He had a bit of opportunity, but then for next year, we know there are many riders looking for position because of the TSG being the number one continental team in the world right now. We get a lot of applications.
Okay.
So and we only have 7 positions for international rider in TSG. That's why the selection process is super competitive. So for that reason, yeah, we unlikely able to re-sign Andreas. But we
So
hope
that seven rider limit is set by UCI, is it?
no,
Oh, no,
no,
it's
no,
by-
no.
by
That's
TSG.
set by TSG ourselves.
Okay, all right,
We
okay.
felt that we need to have 9 rider represented in
Okay.
Malaysian rider to give the Malaysian rider opportunity. But then to do well, we need the 7 because you have multiple races.
Yeah.
So you will need the 2 set of teams of climbers and the GC riders.
Alright.
So yeah, so it's a target we set for ourselves. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So Danny, can you reveal to us your new signings for next year?
Can I review?
Since you're the man responsible for doing the signing.
I how to say this? I can tell you.
Or at least the ones that are confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mahawi Kudus is moving on to
Yeah.
BH, right? So
Yeah.
we know he was good. I talked to him. I said, he's still only 30 years old. If he have the opportunity to go back to pro level or even world tour level, please. I don't want to hold you back because obviously there is a massive difference in the salary structure between continental team and the world tour, and for him at his age, and also he still can have opportunity to do the grand tour, like do even possibly the Valda, but then maybe even do the Tour de France again. So I said, as a personal, you need to look at that perspective. That's why I didn't hold him. He told me before he officially announced, I already knew that he may be moving on. But we did offer him a contract very early. But then he needed to wait a bit. So I can tell you, we are re-signing Anatoly.
Okay. Yeah.
Anatoly, or Ukrainian climber. He's very consistent and very good in the hills. And we also re-signing Mikhail Yub, the compatriot of Kudus. He actually, by Kudus joining team, actually brought him the focus to do well again. So we're happy to see that. So we're actually going to have we're also re-signing Aiman Chayati from Indonesia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he leave for a year? Or,
No.
Or he was already
has been,
okay,
so
right,
he didn't do Langkawi because he actually doing the Batam in the Indonesia races. So he is we actually like him very much. He performs very well. He's a very good rider. And also I think he's a fantastic rider, and also he represent Polygon for being an Indonesian company. So it did work out perfectly.
Okay.
And
did they choose him, Polygon?
No. We choose him.
We
choose him. And I took him from, I think he was at Nusantara. So I talked to him last year in Langkawi. So I said, why don't you join us? And they were very nice.
Yeah.
Nusantara, we have a good relationship with them. So they said it would be better for Ayman to join TSG because he get more chances to race bigger races. So that's what he did. He did the Hainan. He did the bigger races. So that was good. So we have these 3 riders confirmed.
Okay.
We have 4 new positions.
All right.
I cannot tell you the exact name yet because of they haven't signed the contract.
Okay,
The contract has been offered.
Yeah.
We actually have a meeting this weekend to finalize all these things. But I can tell you there is going to be a Kazakh rider.
Okay. All right.
And there's going to be most likely a Danish rider.
Okay. All right.
And also a Dutch rider.
Okay.
And then a possible, and then one last position, potentially another European rider, potentially could be Swiss. So again, all these are in discussion, but we also looking at other riders. We getting even a check. We have so many applications, but we sort of. We are looking at a couple very good riders. They are world tour level. Some of them done the major grand tours, and also from pro Conti team and world tour teams. Yeah.
So among that, just now you mentioned one Kazakh, one Dutch, and one Swiss. Is it? Sorry.
Potentially
Swiss.
Yeah.
So any former world tour riders among these 3?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yes,
right.
absolutely.
So GC man, is it? Are there?
They're GC men's,
yeah.
but they also, some of them are, GC, mostly GC men's. Yeah.
So we're always keeping the sprinters for ourselves. Is it?
Well,
I don't remember.
It's a
TSG.
good question. Yusuf is a sprinter technically.
Okay,
Yusuf
right,
is a sprinter, right? I want to. The reason I don't want to hurry to go and find an international sprinter because I want to. Again, TSG's role, we want to develop the Malaysian rider, Terengganu rider, or the Malaysian rider. I want to sort of leave that role opportunity because if you get a very strong sprinter and then there's no chance for young guys like Aceh, Iwandi to even have the opportunity because then they will just play in a support role. So, and then I ask myself, like, what do we do this race for? Do the team is what's the benefit? How is the benefit Terengganu? How is it benefit Malaysia? So this is the things I have to consider. And we have to consider GC rider because we really don't have that many good GC rider locally. And that's why. Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, Danny. So I think we're gonna start wrapping things up. Right? Anything you
Sure.
want to say to the fans or sponsors or anyone?
I just hope Malaysia continue. I hope the Malaysian, the government, also the MSCF, the MSN invest more on grassroots racing for Malaysians. It's to bring more events and to develop younger rider, and that's the biggest thing that I'm hoping to see more. And I hope someday we will have a Malaysian rider that contest for the GC podium, not just for the white jersey, but the GC podium in Langkawi. Because I was able to bring stage winner like Anwar Manan and the KOM
and Adi Hussaini as well.
The white jersey, but we never had the yellow jersey. I have yellow jersey from outside riders, from international riders. It's great. It's great achievement. But I would like to see in a Malaysian someday wear the yellow jersey. In the Tour de Langkawi.
Since you mentioned that national team, I think I just want to ask you, our national team, they only tend to train when it's time for LTDL and just a few months in a year.
Yes.
I mean, there's not long enough for them to really build on what they have done in LTDL. Do you think they should be turned into a Conti team like Thailand have done?
No, they shouldn't be turning into a Thailand. They should be a development. The reason the Malaysian national team cannot train all year long, exist all year long, not because they don't want to. It's because of complete lack of funding. So I'm glad you brought this up.
Right.
And then I said that during the Langkawi broadcasting because I said, they're buying their own bike. All of them buying their own bicycle. And I knew Yusuf. He didn't talk to me directly, but he talked to people, my friends. They were going around asking for money just to buy the chain.
Okay.
To buy the tire, buy the tube for the riders.
Okay.
So they are on already sub-level equipment, and you expect them to go compete at the world class with the world class rider. So for what they told me, how much allowance they had just to do a training camp in before the Langkawi, it was just barely enough to pay the 3 meals, and not at a restaurant, at maybe a mama stall. So you're telling me with that kind of budget, and you're not gonna expect any kind of result, and that's what happened, and that's what really sad. I really. And I know they had an invitation for Puyang Lake or something, but they didn't have money to even buy the flight ticket to go, and that's the problem. There's no support for the national team at all, which is really sad to see. And again, I talk about it during the broadcasting, and I urge Malaysians to support these guys because I know Malaysian guys, they all have $30,000 bicycles when they spend it on, and they barely just go off for a coffee ride. And why don't you just spend 5% of that to support the Malaysian Cycling Federation, or at least the Malaysian national team? Don't forget about the politic part of the Cycling Federation. Just support the Malaysian national team.
So the public should try and help them.
They should try. I mean, you had the old parts, old bicycle parts. Donate if you don't want to donate cash. I'm sure all of them have tons of secondhand parts. Sell it instead of sitting in your house collecting dust. Sell it and donate that money, or even just give to the team. I suggested to the team, and Yusuf donate to the team. Yusuf can sell it, and then use that money for the team. They need to save up a little bit of money so they can buy ticket to go travel to the races. To buy chain, just forget about buying bicycle. That's too expensive. Just buying chains for them to compete.
Sorry, who is it who told you they didn't have money to buy the chains?
That was the Xiang Sang Hong. His son was racing the national team, and they didn't have money, and because Yusuf was calling him and asking for help to donate some money to buy these kind of basic necessity.
So first of all, I hope that the MSN or KBS can help out that.
Yes,
as well as maybe the fans as well.
Yes, fan as well. Of course, you need the federal support, but the federal is not giving them much attention in funding. I'm not involved in the politics side. I know that there's MSCF, there's MSN, there's different kind of political. Let's just put the politics aside. Let's put the priority of the riders and development of the rider as the priority. It's very sad to see, because for track cycling we invest like many millions into just the bike R&D. Yes,
not counting the programs.
Absolutely.
But then our road guys are struggling to buy a chain, and it's a huge disparity there. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know, because obviously their track is a different program from the rest. So it is very sad. I just want to bring this to the attention of the viewers and listener and cycling fans in general. Just something needs to be done about this. Yeah.
Okay, you're absolutely right. And I think Malaysian road cycling still has a lot of we haven't reached our full potential yet because of these kind of issues. Yes. I mean, and with TSG we saw that with proper support, Aiman could almost won a bronze at the Asian Cycling Championships, right?
Yes,
it was just like a few inches away from the Kazakh guy.
Correct. Yeah, so there's opportunity. Like you said, like Thailand. Thailand sent their rider to the World Championship, to the World Championship under 23. Actually, in fact, Malaysia could send, because under 23 there's less regulation. They actually want to encourage young rider to go, but you need money to send the rider to the under 23 race, because for the elite race there's a regulation of points and the ranking in order to send the rider. But for under 23, like Mongolia and the Thailand, they've been sending rider, and that's why they're able to see the result. But if you don't send the rider to those races, because there's no money, no funding, and you can't tell me there's no money when how much money the Malaysia invested in Tour de Langkawi alone. I understand that's part of tourism. But it's not purely for the cycling development. I understand that, but I'm just saying that if there is money, it's just how it's allocated and what's been. You cannot expect future champions come from racing at the kampong races. That's not gonna happen.
All right, so Danny, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been very interesting. I haven't done one this long yet. It's been 40, almost 1 hour. So thank you again for being on the show. So this has been Timesport on the Beat. Don't forget to tune in to the next episode on Audio Plus, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Thank you.